elevation of the airport elevation. So the airport elevation is an exact 968 feet. At one point, they got, I think, down to 942 feet. You say, how is that possible? These are rolling hills in this part of the country. So the airport can actually be kind of up on a rolling hill, which it is. You can actually get down a little bit below the level of the runway, which they did here. When they go through the wreckage of the airplane, and we'll show you some footage of them examining the airplane here just now, they took a look at the engines, and the fan at the front part of the number 1 and number 2 engine were mostly intact. There was no damage to that. They take a look at that first to make sure that the engines didn't ingest something, because they did go through trees, but it doesn't appear that that's what caused any of the crash here. Their altitude is what caused it. And then they take a look at the center stages of the engine, if you will, where the fire would take place, where the engines are burning. Right. And there is some damage in there. There's some scoring and so forth, and some damage to the blades, but that's expected because of the crash. So all of that is completely normal. So what they're telling us is that the engines were operating normally throughout this entire evolution. The indications in the cockpit were not normal, but the airplane itself was flying just fine. There weren't any big issues there. Now, one of the other things that we learned from this crash site is that the engine thrust levers were completely full forward. And that's in the report as well. What does that indicate to me? They wouldn't, if they're at 90 some odd knots at some point in this approach, that doesn't indicate that the engines are full forward. I think they realized at the last second that they were too low and they were going to miss the runway, or maybe when they hit that first light stanchion, the pilot in the left seat pushed those thrust levers full forward. It's going to take a second or 2 or 3 for the engines to spool up. He didn't have that much time. This flight was already doomed. So when they, after the fire, the thrust levers were full forward. They weren't back at idle, or they weren't in a mid-range. They were full forward. They were trying to go around at the last minute. So the pilot was illegal to take the flight in the first place. Didn't have the proper second in command on that. There is this